Nigel Farage. I say former, you've done this before, haven't you?
Yeah, I did for 3 days last year, but I was called back because they wanted me to help fight the referendum campaign. So I'm really pleased that I did that and made that decision. But I've gone now, but I haven't disappeared completely. I'm going to stand there behind the new leader of UKIP. And you know what? We're headed into a couple of very interesting years. Theresa May's taken over as Prime Minister, or about to, in the next half an hour or so. And she has to make sure Brexit happens. And that's a big challenge for somebody who backed the Remain campaign.
Look at the mess you've left behind. All of the people that wanted Brexit have all gone.
Well, I was never going to be part of the government, so I don't really think I'm relevant to that. But no, you're right. There's an irony in a Remainer becoming the Prime Minister. She said Brexit means Brexit. Let's hope she means it. OK, so what role, if any, would you accept from Theresa May? Well, I'm going to have a role in the European Parliament. You know, I lead UKIP in the European Parliament with the biggest British delegation there. We're going to watch like a hawk after Article 50 has been declared to see whether we're getting a decent deal or not. Surely you have a responsibility to try to make something of the mess that has been left, at least for now. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, in the long term, things will be great and it will be a good idea that we left the European Union. At the moment, that is not the case. Well, the mess is in politics, not in the economy. The mess is here in Westminster, where... Depends whether you look at the 250 or not. Well, where an entire political class have been heading in the wrong direction for 40 years, and in this referendum, the British people have pulled them up and said, let's go in another direction. So I don't think the mess in politics that you've seen in the last fortnight, frankly, has even started. I think, you know, we could even see a realignment of British politics. As far as the economy is concerned, there are 23 countries, last time I counted, from all around the world, now screaming at us, saying, let's get together, let's get round the table, let's do business deals. So the world already, within a fortnight, is beginning to open up. All we need is a government with the right ministers in place to use that opportunity. It seems to transpire that lots of promises that were made have already been rowed back on, including the £350 million on the side of the bus, including suggestions that we will still have to accept some form of migration. Well, I've never said that. The point, I mean, look, why did 17.5 million people vote to leave the European Union? They did so because they wanted this building behind us to have supremacy of our laws, the Supreme Court round the corner to be in charge, and for us to get back control of our borders. They're the primary reasons that people voted for us to leave the European Union. And if this government doesn't hold faith with those 17.5 million, then by 2020, politics could change even more than it has in the last 2 weeks. But we still need a free market, don't we? Well, you know, sterling may have fallen a bit, but it's rallied a bit. The stock market may have fallen a bit. It's now the highest it's been for the last 11 months. And there are countries all over Britain queuing up to talk to us. Let's
But we still need to be a member of that single market in some form or another. Call it a free market, call it whatever you want.
I do not want to be a member of a big cartel run by big business, which makes products in our shops more expensive and inhibits our ability to trade with the rest of the world. We need to be free of the single market, free of the customs union, free of the political union, to choose our own destiny in the world.
Yeah. OK, going back to what I was asking a little bit earlier on, and you dodged the question, so I'm going to come back to it anyway. What role, if any, do you think Brexiteers, maybe not you then, but what role, if any, should Brexiteers have within the government? Obviously, the head of the Brexit department must be a Brexiteer. But what about the others? We look at people, well, basically any of the other big names that we're thinking of that will potentially be in those big jobs are Remainers. Surely you have a responsibility to consider what, if anything, UKIP should do.
Well, I'll help in any way I can. I'll do that informally in the European Parliament or in any other way I possibly can. But the most important thing is who is the cabinet appointment in charge of the Brexit renegotiations, and who is he or she going to bring into this? Are we going to think about this just in terms of politicians in corridors in Brussels and Westminster, or are we going to think more broadly and get involved? People like Digby Jones, the former CBI boss, people like John Longworth, the former British Chamber's Commerce boss, because actually the real negotiation isn't going to happen in Brussels. It's going to happen in German car factories. It's going to happen in French wine producers, because they're the people we've got to lobby. They're the people who sell us far more than we sell them. They're the people who want a proper deal.
OK, thanks for persevering with the megaphone behind us.
I've been used to it for years.
Talk to us about Article 50.
Yeah.
Article 50 has not been triggered.
No.
It is, we hear from the new Prime Minister, likely to be triggered in the next calendar year. If it had been Andrea Leadsom, she said she would do it in September. It could get kicked into the long grass for some considerable time.
If it does, then it won't just be the Labour Party that splits in half, it'll be the Tory Party too. You know,
and that means presumably we could see people joining UKIP?
we have already. I mean,
no, I mean within the Palace of Westminster behind it.
There are, maybe not many, but there are some very principled members of Parliament. People who are there, who back the Brexit campaign, who would see a new Prime Minister not carrying out the wishes of the biggest democratic exercise in the history of this country as nothing less than a betrayal.
Yeah, but what happens then?
We see a realignment of politics. We see bigger changes in politics than we can even begin to believe.
OK, so what does that mean? It means in 2020 a lot of UKIP MPs, in your opinion, in the northwest, the northeast and the like?
If this vote...
That means you would come back?
If this vote... No, I'll be there supporting. If this vote is not honoured, then I think you'll see a general election in 2020 where UKIP and perhaps other people, coming in and getting involved with that, and perhaps a broad Eurosceptic alliance, who's to say? But I think what you'll see is something even more shocking to the establishment here than what happened in the referendum.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that you would cause these sort of seismic shifts in our politics?
Well, I said about 5 years ago that my intention was to cause an earthquake in British politics. I think with some confidence I can say that I've helped contribute to that.
Good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you. So,
you didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.